Now, let's get to Doom themselves. Ron Simmons and Butch Reed are referred to as Doom 1 and Doom 2. I mean, wasn't Ron Simmons just in the promotion as Ron Simmons? And then all of a sudden you put a thin mask on him, and it's like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah. WCW was good for that. Like the Midnight Rider with Dusty, right? On the NWA at that.
No, but they were playing this one straight. That's the thing. Like the Midnight Rider and Brian Pillman Yellow Dog kind of thing. But here we go. The actual match themselves, as they're still masked and the fans aren't meant to be able to figure them out. As big as they are, anyway. The Steiners take over early, including tandem German suplexes. I won't go through the entire match, but as I say, this is a few weeks ago, but I remember this being one of the standout matches because as a fan, what you want to see is just four big people smash each other's faces in, and this is exactly what you got.
Sure, and it was at that time where the what has become the legend of the Steiner brothers begins to coalesce, right? You had Scotty. If you remember when Scotty first came in, he still had the dark hair and was doing the Hurricane Run, the Frankensteiners, and all of that. Very different styling than say Rick's, and both of them have different approaches to the business. But when you said that thing you said about you want to watch four big men doing this stuff. Back to Terry Funk, to bring him up again. He said to me when I was first starting the franchise character, Shayna, you have to ask yourself, you were walking down a dark alley in the middle of the night and a woman was coming from the opposite direction. Would she freeze in her tracks and stop and turn around and go the other way? Ooh, it looks like trouble coming. Or would she say, go on, hey, how you doing, bud? Have a good night. And I totally got what he meant by that. These guys, you could, I dare say, probably most men in that dark alley with any one of these four guys would probably go, maybe I'll just go around the block. And that was the one thing I think that WCW at that time had, to be fair, WWE or WWF then had their share of monsters as well. But the big guys in WCW could move around. They could go. You see a guy like Scotty, as big as he was, still able to hit that Frankensteiner, albeit less often as he would previously. Rick has always just been an immensely powerful guy, and Ron Simmons and Butch both, speak for themselves as well. So, that was the kind of stuff to me that in WCW, in my head anyway, it always seemed more like the wrestling promotion. This is the working promotion. North is the entertainment division. But you never got the feeling in watching Butch or Ronnie or Rick or Scotty that they were just four guys that go out there and hit a tackle and not sell it or beat their chest or whatever. These guys could go to a pretty good degree, as most of the big men in WCW could. So, in looking back on that, at that time, that kind of a match was having trouble breaking through to the top because you still had your Flairs and, pretty close to Prime and your Steamboats and all these other guys that would be in and out of there through the NWA lineage. But you look back at it now, and, we often hear this refrain of, the best big man or and attributing these qualities because of the sizes that they could still move around. Much like in the NFL, you look at the speeds of the guys running in the NFL that are 320 pounds. It's like superhuman. It's incredible what they can do. This, I think, was the platform for that. And back in the late 80s and early 90s, WCW was coming up with this brand, this flavor that somehow showcased these bigger men and showed them they could do things that the big guys in, say, WWF couldn't or refrain from. So, and it doesn't hurt the fact that all four of these guys are good friends of mine.
Before we get off this match, I can give you a couple of things about it. I mean, there's a kick out from a stuff pile driver. Scott kicks out, which for people complaining about that happening today, hey, it happened in the 80s as well.
Yes.
Some things we could go on for that, but we talked a couple of weeks ago about kicking out finishes, but it's not brand new kind of stuff, this thing. Another thing I wrote down here I wanted to ask is, how did you wrestle the Steiner brothers and not get hurt? And when I say hurt, I don't mean, broken ankles and whatever, busted ribs, but how did you just not get a ton of bruises every time? Because they really laid that stuff in. Even I can see it, and I've never felt it.
Yeah, they would definitely lay this stuff in. But again, there's a physics lesson in every professional wrestling match, right? When done properly. If you watch Ricky throwing those stiff clotheslines, he's hitting you in the right place. He's not hitting you here. He's not hitting you here. He's hitting in the right place. And again, the quantum, the physics part of that is, as that big, strong son of a bitch is throwing that clothesline and hitting you like that, that impact is not just you taking your bump, you're being thrown into the bump. It snaps the bump. But he always was aiming, fairly accurately. And Scotty, to a lesser degree, but Rick was more the physical. Scotty, when he came in, was trying to do some more of the flying stuff and everything. But both of them, I think, were far more powerful than they knew early in my career. First few months after I got my break in UWF, we were in the Centroplex in Baton Rouge, and I was wrestling Rick, and he called for the German. And, so in our business, you're taught to go with it, throw yourself into it. Well, I didn't have the realization at that time just how freaky strong Rick was. I was probably 215 at the time, and he threw me like I was a piece of paper. And by me throwing myself into it, and his explosion with it came over and landed right on my head on the other side. And instantly my fingers and toes went, and I was afraid to try to move that I might not be able to. I thought I'd broken my neck. And, so after that, anytime Ricky wanted to go for the German, I was giving the lead ass, because he's still going to get me. But I'm sure as hell not going to dump myself on my head again.